We are experiencing audio difficulties. Please stand by. We are experiencing audio difficulties. Please stand by. We are experiencing audio difficulties. Please stand by.
Against the Phillies, winning both games they played so far.
And Danny Jackson, coming off a brilliant performance last week against Philadelphia, getting the call tonight.
Well, it was interesting around the batting cage listening to the little cut sliders that Osteen was throwing in batting practices. You'll see that tonight. You'll see that tonight. So they're prepared. You always worry about a pitcher the second time around. We'll see how Jackson fares.
Tracy Jones is back with the ball club, but he's not able to play because of that left knee injury. Rob Murphy will not be available tonight. He had to go to Florida because of the death of his grandmother, but let's hope we get back on the winning track here.
Well, Jackson, with 3 complete games, you might not need a guy like Murphy. Let's hope it doesn't get to that situation.
We'll be back, bring you the starting lineups for tonight's action from the vet right after this. Cincinnati Reds baseball is Roy Alpers. Our associate producer, Jesse Jackson. Network coordinator, Dick Mort. Cincinnati Reds baseball is a special presentation of Multimedia Sports.
A look at the scene here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Danny Jackson will be on the hill. And he's just finished his warm-up tosses. The Philly fanatic, who you saw entertaining, he's ended his frivolity for the moment. So let's go to Johnny for the starting lineups.
Thank you very much, Jay. Nice to have you back. Barry Larkin leads off at shortstop tonight. Chris Sabo back in the second spot. He's at third base. Cal Daniels bats third in left field. Eric Davis, the center fielder, batting fourth. Paul O'Neill is back at first base again today, batting fifth. Bo Diaz does the catching, batting sixth. Ron Renicky, he's had 5 consecutive starts since being recalled. He bats seventh. Jeff Treadway is at second base, batting eighth. And Danny Jackson is the pitcher. Defensively, for the Philadelphia Phillies, it's Phil Bradley, Bob Dernier, and Chris James in the outfield. Mike Schmidt, Louis Aguayo, Juan Samuel, and Vaughn Hayes around the infield. Lance Parrish behind the plate. And the right-handed David Palmer, signed as a free agent by the Philadelphia Phillies. 0-1 record with a 5.0 ERA. He's pitched 9 innings. I asked Lee Elia, the manager for the Phillies, if he was just spot starting him. He said, no, we've had some rainouts, which moved some people back, and then he pitched in Montreal and came up with a muscle spasm in his forearm. So he pitched well up there, and then he pitched against the Reds in the last series there. Now he sees action against the Reds once again.
Let's remind you this copyrighted telecast comes to you through the courtesy of Multimedia Broadcasting. It's authorized under TV rights granted by the Reds solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Reds is prohibited. The announcers on this telecast are employed by Multimedia Broadcasting with the approval of the Cincinnati Reds. Tommy Helms handles the club, 47 years old last week, a coach with the Reds since '82, 14 seasons in the majors, out of Charlotte, North Carolina, lives now in Cincinnati. He's with the Reds in Houston and Pittsburgh and Boston. And upstairs, we'll get a look at Pete Rose sitting out his suspension, as he has to leave the dugout area and the dressing room area before game time. Ready to get underway. Hope you'll enjoy the action from the vet, Barry Larkin, to lead it off. Larkin standing in against Palmer, and it's a strike on the inside corner. Frank Pulley, the veteran umpire, will call the balls and strikes behind home plate tonight. Larkin at 305 leads the National League in hits with 40. And this is slapped to the right side. That's James moving back, and he makes the play. There's a good look at David Palmer, and Sabo standing in against him. Palmer, 30 years old, from Glens Falls, New York. Sabo's batting .277, and he pops it up off to the right side. David Palmer is a gentleman who was picked in the 21st round of the June '76 draft by Montreal. He signed as a free agent in Atlanta in '86 and then came over here. Sabo is 3 for 3 this year against Palmer. And there's a strike.
Well, that's the type of pitcher that David Palmer is. He's going to run the fastball in and use that good slider. And it's amazing the surgery that he had, that the Philadelphia Phillies took a chance with him.
This is fouled out of play off to the right side. He was been on the DL, Johnny, 5 times in his career. He's really had a very injury-torn 9 seasons in the majors. This is 10th season. He was 10-2 at Montreal in '79, 11-10 with Atlanta in '86, and 8-11 with them last year.
Well, I can still remember the talk of David Palmer back in 1979. I can distinctly remember Phil Garner saying, he looks easy to hit. You swing at it and the ball jumps over the bat.
That's outside.
The Reds have had no problems against Mr. Palmer. A lifetime record of 1-9.
Kind of scary, isn't it?
Is Palmer against the Reds.
Here's the 2-2 offering. And it's up the middle, and coming over is Aguayo to take it away. Chris didn't get much on that one, trying to slap it out there into a hole in short center. But Aguayo got there. Aguayo at shortstop tonight. They've been searching for a shortstop here in Philadelphia for quite a while.
Well, it was Steve Jeltz. We saw him in spring training when we broadcast from Clearwater, and they hoping that he could do it. He can defensively. He is fine. Offensively, he's just not able to produce.
Cal Daniels hitting at .258. Daniels, who leads the National League in walks with 25. And strike one to Cal.
Cal looks as though he's looking past the ball. He's been fooled on some breaking balls and fastballs that just get in on him. And it looks like he's not picking the ball up, and that he's not, it's a little late from the release point because he's still looking past it and not looking at the ball into the glove.
Well, on 3 pitches, he strikes out, and he never made an offering at that one. The strikeout, the first for Palmer. The Reds go quietly after a half inning of play, no score.
Tonight's lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies has Bob Dernier leading off in center field. Phil Bradley plays left field. He was acquired in the trade from Seattle. Juan Samuel bats third. What a player he is. Second base. Mike Schmidt plays third base tonight, even with a sore muscle. Lance Parrish bats fifth and catches. Vaughn Hayes, the Mr. Everything at first base, bats sixth. Chris James, a real strong young man in right field, bats seventh. Louis Aguayo is the shortstop, and David Palmer does the pitching. Tonight for the Reds is Danny Jackson, 4-1 with a fine 2.45 ERA, despite the fact he got knocked around pretty good in Houston.
And he's ready to come in to Dernier. And it's just inside. Dernier is batting .355. He is the only member of the starting lineup that is batting over .300.
Well, I'm not sure that Palmer will like that.
In fact, Johnny, as I look down this list, he's the only man in the starting lineup who's batting over .270.
Well, David Palmer's hitting .333.
Well,
He's got a home run.
I know,
so
I'm not going to
that's
count
what I meant by Dave. I understand.
right down the middle for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Everybody in their lineup is hitting over 200, though, however.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you would mention that. Hit on the ground. Sabo, the easy toss, and 1 gone.
Defensively for the Reds, you saw Sabo make that play. In the outfield, it's Daniels, Davis, and Ron Renicky. Chris Sabo, Barry Larkin, Jeff Treadway, and Paul O'Neill in the infield. Bo Diaz behind the plate, and Danny Jackson. The Phillies were very impressed by Danny Jackson, and Danny has seen some of the Phillies and Phil Bradley, the man at the plate, and also Lance Parrish, and it'll be interesting to see how they treat him the second time around.
He faces Phil Bradley with 1 out, and it's a strike on the inside corner. Bradley at .253 in the batting average, has 6 runs batted in. Young man from Bloomington, Indiana, 29 years old. Seattle's number 3 draft choice in '81. Of course, an all Big 8 quarterback at the University of Missouri. Very talented athlete. The 0-2 pitch just misses inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Juan Samuel standing along on deck. Phillies batting .228 as a team. Fouled away. The Phillies have only banged out 16 home runs so far. The Reds, on the other hand, have hit 30. Phillies been running pretty well. They've stolen 32 out of 39. They have not played very well defensively, I'm told, although they're coming off a very nice victory yesterday when the defense did a good job. A high chopper, and let's see if Treadway can make the throw in time. He can.
The thing that is puzzling to the Philadelphia sports writers, fans, and the coaching staff is their inability to hit with runners on base, but they didn't do that last year, and they've left opportunity after opportunity. Mike Schmidt had gone 10 times earlier in the season without getting a runner in scoring position, and just recently had 7 times again that he had men in scoring position and was unable to produce, and he finally came through. He's playing tonight with a little bit of a sore muscle.
Samuel from San Pedro de Macorís down in the Dominican, and he is thrown out, and an easy inning for the Reds and Danny Jackson. After 1, no score. Eric Davis stands in as we start the 2nd inning here at the vet in Philadelphia. Eric batting .191. Took some extra batting practice tonight. This one into the gap, and it'll go all the way to the wall, off the wall, and it's a double for Davis. And I just was going to talk about his extra batting practice, and he didn't give me much time. He whacked that one.
Well, he's hit David Palmer well in the past year that he saw them, and this time no problem here. Looks like he's standing a little bit more upright and using those quick hands that he has. He's been leaning so far back on that back leg, and he really was in position. It looked kind of like a triple, but he hit it so hard. Dernier was playing so deep. Take another look at this swing. See, it's short, and see how he swings across those axes and just let those arms do it. That's what his quickness is.
Davis out there at 2nd. O'Neill batting .247. Takes a strike on the outside corner. O'Neill with 6 runs batted in and a homer. O'Neill, born in Columbus, number 4 draft pick in '81. And this one out to the shortstop. Aguayo holds the runner and throws on. 1 gone.
Well, didn't get the job done. Not able to pull the ball and get Eric over towards 3rd. Now with Bo at the plate, Eric knows it's much easier to get the runner in from 3rd. Last year he was successful 14 times out of 14 times stealing 3rd base. Earlier in the year against Houston, he was thrown out trying to steal 3rd in a really game that got away from the Reds. That Houston finally won in extra innings 8-3, but don't be surprised if you don't see him taking off right here.
Bo is batting .226, 9 RBIs, 4 home runs. He's hit in 16 of his last 20 games. A pleasant night. It's going to head a little bit on the cool side. The temperature in the 60s. The wind blowing toward left field. This is circular stadium. Swing and a miss by Diaz.
Actually, with the wind blowing across, it means that the wind is blowing out to right field. It's blowing from right field across towards left field and towards the seats. But once it comes under here and it shoots back out the other way. I know that for a fact because Lee Ilya told me so. And in most stadiums, that is the occasion.
Yeah, you see the flags blowing toward the left side, out toward left field on top of the stadium. This is foul back and out of play.
Great hitter's ballpark, Jay.
Yeah, it is.
And this, well, I would say not a very big crowd tonight. They have not seen a winning ball club here so far this year, and a little bit disenchanted. Eric Davis hit 5 home runs in this ballpark last year.
330 down the lines, 371 to the power alleys, 408 to dead center field. Palmer with an 0-2 pitch, strikes out Diaz. Well, he struck out Daniels to end the first, and he gets his second strikeout here, and after the leadoff double by Davis, it's up to Renicky.
Has had the good slider and been pitching away. Lance Perry set outside, and I think it kind of surprised Bo that he didn't make contact. He felt like he was right on that fastball, and he's such a good 2-strike hitter, going the other way especially. There's what Garner was talking about. The ball jumps over your bat.
That fastball of his really can move. A strike down the middle to Renicky. Renicky has played in every game since being called up. 154 the average, the switch hitter. That's a little high. 1 ball and 1 strike. This is the 4th game of a 9-game 10-day road trip. The New York Mets have defeated the Cincinnati Reds in each of the games they've played this year, sweeping them in Cincinnati and then sweeping them over the weekend at Shea Stadium. A little high, 2 balls and 1 strike. The loss yesterday, 5-1. Darling pitching a very fine game. The Phillies won in Atlanta 5-1 as Bruce Ruffin had a 3-hitter. He retired the final 19 batters he faced. That's a little low, and it's 3-1. Palmer, as Johnny told you, 1-9 in his career against the Reds. Renicky looking out intently. And on the 3-1 offering, hit to the right side. Samuel throws him out. So the leadoff double by Davis. He's stranded out there after 1.5, no score.
Nothing ball game here at Veterans Stadium, and kick off your summer in style with the Beach Boys Saturday, May 28th, when the Reds play the Pirates. Get your tickets now and enjoy Reds baseball, followed by the timeless sounds of the Beach Boys. Tickets are available at the stadium and gift shop with no cost of a service charge to you, or you can get your tickets by phone. Just call 513-421-REDS or 1-800-525-9000. You can also get it by visiting one of your many Ticketmaster outlets. That's Saturday, May 28th at 7:05, the Reds and Pirates.
Here's Mike Schmidt. Strike on the inside corner. I was with the Beach Boys back in February out on Kauai at the Kemper Open, and boy, they are sounding better than ever. You're really going to enjoy them. There's another one in there as Schmidt looks back at Frank Pulley and said, that didn't look like a strike to me.
The fans are already disagreeing too. I'm used to Philadelphia being like that, but they've been quiet up to this point.
Jackson's out in front 0-2. And he threw this one in there high that Schmidt just got a piece of.
He's taken so much batting practice. Mike is saying that, he's pulled that muscle. He said, when you fully turn, like you turn across your hips, that little muscle down on that left side, just above where the hip socket is, right on that muscle, it was bothering him. Set out yesterday. Said he'd be fine to come back in here today.
Struck him out. Strikeout number 1 for Jackson as he got that one over the corner. Schmidt has more home runs and RBIs and extra base hits than any third baseman in baseball history, but Jackson got his number this time.
Well, he just made an excellent pitch. You know, he's got that good quick slider, and he just dropped that fastball right down in there. What a competitor. And the Phillies were talking about the fact that he was such a good competitor and what good mechanics he had.
Lance Parrish, a dismal year last season. He had an 11-game hitting streak going until this past weekend. Hitting .269, leading the Phils in home runs, runs batted in, game-winning RBIs, and a bunch of other stats. Is fouled back and out of play.
Well, he really didn't have a bad second half. You know,
No,
it was all magnified by
the
the fact that he wasn't throwing any runners out. And then all of a sudden, everything kind of turned around. But they were such dismal figures in that first half, they really didn't have a chance of making a good showing.
Well, Johnny, so many players have to take a year, I think, to make the transition from one league to the other. We saw it with Von Hayes. We've seen it with a number of the players. Doesn't make any difference which way you go. Here's a long one. And back on the track, Daniels, and he got it right against the wall. That ball hung up out there.
Well, there's the wind, Jay. Remember, we talked about it going across that way. You would think with the flags blowing that way that the ball would just carry right on out to the stands. But as it is, it hits that under part of the stadium and then shoots back down, and that's exactly what happens. If he'd hit that on a line, he wouldn't have had any problem. Look at the extension. You would think no problem. Cal made two good defensive plays in New York, and he gauged it just perfectly there.
Cal Daniels in left, Davis in center, and Renicky in right tonight. Here's Von Hayes, and he takes a strike. Jackson looking sharp here in the early going, although Parrish almost planted that last one out of there. Here's another one into left. Daniels broke back, now coming on, and got there. Just did get there as he misjudged that. Glad he's smiling right now. There's no score after 2. No score at the end of 2, and it starts to rain here at Veterans Stadium. They have predicted some showers in the area tonight. Jeff Treadway to lead it off. Treadway takes a strike. Jeff batting .250. He's got a 4-game hitting streak going, and he's hit .370 in the last 10 games. So he's been doing much better. And he cuts this one foul out of play off to the left side.
Just looks more relaxed at the plate. You can just see that from up here and what we've seen earlier. And he had to get out of a little bit of a slump of trying to get out too quick. What he was doing was he was not staying level with his shoulder. And you can just tell how much more relaxed he is. He's in no big rush. And he's starting to feel very comfortable.
And this is into left field. Bradley comes on. Let's pause right now for station identification. This is the Cincinnati Reds Television Network.
Your #1 sports station in Cincinnati, WLWT.
Along with Johnny Bench, Jay Randolph at the Vet in Philadelphia. Slight rain shower at the moment as the folks have brought out their rain gear and their umbrellas. Andy Jackson standing in. Jackson with a batting average of .133. He has 2 hits and 15 at-bats and 2 RBIs. And it's by Schmidt. Tough play for Aguayo. Out! Oh, it was close. Aguayo from deep in the hole. He knew the pitcher was running, but Jackson made it very close. And Jackson, as he comes back, chats with first base umpire Bob Davidson.
Well, he may. He's not one to argue as it is, but that was a fine play by Aguayo. And you could see that Mike Schmidt is somewhat limited by that pulled muscle. You know, that's not a dive that he can't do with that sore one. Now just slow it down right here.
Ooh,
well, I'll tell you what, Von Hayes took that one away.
That was close.
A big 6'5" first baseman with about a 12-foot stretch, it looked like. You know, and the ball came in low, which made it imperative that he get out that far, and important that he didn't. That's the only reason he's out.
Larkin flied to right back in the first. Ball 1 to Barry Larkin. Larkin starting the night at 3:05. You know, people ask me, Jay, where can I vote for my favorite All-Star? Well, it's easy. You can pick up a USA Today All-Star fan ballot wherever you buy Budweiser and Bud Light. And the All-Star voting is beginning, so we hope you'll have a chance to vote for your favorites, especially your favorite Reds.
Well, eight of the players on the ballot.
That's right. 2 balls and 1 strike. A little low. Tomorrow, Don Carmen gets the call for the Phillies. Tom Browning will go for the Reds. Shane Raleigh and Dennis Rasmussen hook up here on Wednesday night. We'll televise all 3 from the vet for you. Driven into left field. Bradley coming on. The ball well hit, but he got to it. And after 2.5, nothing shaking for either side. Bottom of the 3rd inning. No score. Chris James with a .218 average. And the first pitch is inside to James.
You know, you can watch Bo Diaz and see how much movement that Danny Jackson has on the ball, especially the last couple of feet. Bo has to really be careful back there and just wait for the pitch to move. You can see him just sort of all of a sudden just reaching and grabbing. He's had a couple of balls hit on the heel of his glove and bounce down. So you know Jackson's ball is moving. That's one of the best telltale signs of how a pitcher's stuff is that night. And it's not always indicative of every pitcher, but the fact that he's got that cut fastball and the good slider, that's good movement.
1 ball and 1 strike. Inside. James, of course, his older brother Craig, National Football League star up in New England. This fella caught the Phillies' eye as a prospect when he hit 26 home runs and drove in 121 runs at Spartanburg back in '83. 3 balls and 1 strike to him.
He's lost a lot of weight, Jay. And Lee Elias say it was just body fat or baby fat that he dropped down, but he was really big and strong across the chest. Still got a lot of strength.
Had an ankle operation in '86. He's strong here. And he has got the first hit for the Phillies, a solid single into left. James leading off the 3rd. James a .237 career average against the Reds. Luis Aguayo. Aguayo is batting .212. Aguayo from Puerto Rico, signed as a free agent in December of '75. He's had some arm problems. Hit only .206 last year. Double play ball. Sabo, Treadway on to first. And they turn it. And that is double play number 27 on the year for the Reds.
And well done. Ball hit just to the left of Sabo. That's where he wants it. Takes the good hop, gives a good throw to Treadway, and watch Treadway get out of the way. Jump. Untouched.
That's
good
the way
throw.
to do it. Sabo wearing those specs a la Abdul Jabbar. Strike on the inside corner to David Palmer. Palmer, a .333 hitter, as Johnny told you. See if that holds up over the season.
1 home run.
Yeah, he's obviously got some ability with the bat.
Well, he's hit 2 lifetime home runs. That was, well, the 3 counting this year. It went off of Ted Power.
That was inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Fouled away. It's 2-2. The Reds will play 3 here, then go up to Pittsburgh for a 3-game set there after a day off. Sabo, good stop, across the diamond he throws, and Jackson has faced 9 through 3 innings. Philly fanatics trying to keep everybody in a good frame of mind, entertaining in the stands. Got his
He's your
umbrella.
favorite, isn't he?
He is my favorite. He's the best entertainer in baseball. He's something. There's David Palmer. out of Glens Falls, New York, same town that Dave LaPointe came from. And Sabo stands in, and he hits one right into center field, right at Dernier. One gone. Sabo popped out in the first, flies to center here in the fourth. Get a look at the Veterans Stadium. Seats better than 60,000 for baseball. Circular multi-purpose facility. Cal Daniels struck out to end the first. Rain coming down a bit harder, and the pitch is high. That's right at the letters, a strike. Chicago was rained out against the Dodgers at Wrigley Field this afternoon. San Francisco playing at Pittsburgh tonight, and they have a rain delay there in the early going. Swing and a miss, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The red-hot Mets are starting a long road trip. They've won 9 of their last 10 games as Daniels strikes out for the second time, and it's the third strikeout credited to David Palmer, who in his career is 7-2 here at the Vet. 0-1 this year. Well, that looks more like snow than rain. The way those big drops look in the lighting there. Talking about the Mets, they are now starting the longest road trip of the season for them. Here's Davis with another shot into left, but it is right at Bradley. And quickly the Reds are gone in their half of the fourth, and it's no score here in Philadelphia.
You're watching Reds baseball on the Cincinnati Reds television network.
Bob Dernier started the game for the Phillies by grounding out to Sabo, and he's going to do it again.
That's a good fastball and running slider deep in the kitchen down towards the hands. We talk about the kitchen sometimes, meaning that's where your hands work, where most of the things are, the appliances. It feels like you're hitting the sink and everything else when you make contact like that. He's able to pitch in. He'll be able to go away with that fastball as well because he's been so effective in there.
It's wonderful how we come up with ways to relate this game to people, isn't it?
There's the fastball away.
Bradley's pop is caught by O'Neill in foul territory, 2 out.
Paul O'Neill made some dazzling plays yesterday in New York, Jay. Just made a spectacular play behind the bag, made a couple of real good pickups on some tough hops. And, you know, he feels very comfortable over there. And it's the fact that able to give Nick Osaski a couple of days off, put Paul in here, and Renicky, of course, the switch hitter, play him in the outfield. So it gives a little more offense to the Reds if they can just turn it on.
Juan Samuel grounded out in the first. He takes high. Notice the crew chief, Doug Harvey, just a moment ago, checking the sliding area down at third base. Keeps raining like this much longer, they may stop play. Swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike. We're getting word from the Phillies front office here that the radar shows showers for another half hour. Light rain, and Sabo makes a sensational stop. Oh, what a play. We'll show you that when we come back. It's still scoreless here at the Vet.
Here in Philadelphia, nothing across for both ball clubs, and one of the most popular giveaways that the Reds have is May 27th. That's Friday when the Reds play the Pirates. It's Anheuser-Busch Big Mug Night, and the first 20,000 fans 18 and over will receive a free Reds thermal mug. You can put whatever favorite beverage you decide in this 16-ounce mug. Don't miss it, the Big Mug Night on Friday, May 27th, thanks to our friends at Anheuser-Busch.
And we're going to show you that play of Sabo's in just a moment. Here's Paul O'Neill. He grounded out back in the second inning. And O'Neill pops this up off to the left side. Aguayo, and just in fair ground. He made a nice play. The way that wind's blowing, it was a little tough for him to judge.
Made a nice play by misjudging it. Let's take a look at the end of the inning. Juan Samuel at the plate hit a shot down the third baseline, and quick reactions here Look at this great backhand, and then the ability to get up quickly, make the sure throw to Paul O'Neill.
Old Spuds McKenzie can play that bag pretty good.
Yes, he can.
Diaz has struck out. That's a little high to Bo. Well, the rain slowing just a bit now. And out into center field, a one-out single for Diaz. Bo didn't get a lot on it, but it got behind Aguayo and in front of Dernier. Second base runner of the evening for the Reds. Davis doubled to start the second and was stranded there. Renicky ended that second inning when he grounded out. Ron standing in. Playing behind the runner at first, and they started the runner, and the only play is to first.
Tommy Helms decided to get a little motion in.
Yep.
Bo yesterday, or day before yesterday, tried to steal a base and was thrown out trying to steal. They played behind him and felt like he'd get a running jump, and he was thrown out trying to steal. Here, man in motion, trying to get Renicky to hit the ball to hopefully the left side, and even that would have had, he would have had to hit it slowly for Bo to be able to get to third base, but at least you'd stay out of the double play, and that probably would have been a double play ball.
And now Treadway with an opportunity. He led off the third by flying to left field. That's low, ball one.
Bo with not the best of speed, but with 2 outs in the inning, able to go on contact. And he's getting a good walking lead at second base. He knows that when Treadway makes that contact, wherever it may be, he can be off to the races.
There's a strike. They're playing again at Pittsburgh, and they're in the 4th inning, and San Francisco's leading that game 2-1. That LA-Chicago game again was postponed this afternoon because of rain. 1 ball and 1 strike. David Palmer peering in at Parrish behind the plate. Good view from center field. That's high. New York and Houston. They are just about set to get underway. Chicago's leading Baltimore 1-0 at Baltimore, 3rd inning. San Diego's playing at St. Louis tonight. That game about to get underway. That's high, 3-1.
Well, the base open, and they're pitching very carefully to Treadway with Jackson on deck. Palmer with very, very good control. He's walked 2 in the 9 innings that he's pitched so far. Always around the plate.
And foul out of play. Full count. Cleveland at California, Detroit at Oakland. Those games, of course, much later. Treadway, 25-year-old from Columbus, Georgia. 500 career batting average against the Phillies.
Well, he's 0 for 1.
Yep. That would drop that 500 down. That was before tonight.
No, I mean he's due.
Yeah, he is due. Let's hope so. But he probably won't get much to look at, John, as you mentioned.
He'll try to use a corner here or use the breaking ball.
He walked him. Oh, it's 2 on, 2 out, and Jackson will try to help his own cause.
He makes contact. One thing about him, he will make contact, try to put the ball in play. And, you know, a lot of these American League pitchers have come over having not had a real chance to swing the bat in their major league career, and they come over. It was interesting that Billy Martin has the New York Yankee pitchers taking batting practice. He said, well, they should. They're going to be in the World Series come October. I got to have them ready.
Read an interesting article today in one of the New York papers about Martin's latest run-in.
Nobody can agree on what happened.
No, nobody's quite sure, and the police, I understand, in the Arlington, Texas area are trying to get the story squared away, but one of the writers in New York suggests that Mr. Steinbrenner get a full-time bodyguard for him.
2 6'10" guys on each side.
Oh, boy. 1 ball and no strikes, fouled away. 1-1.
He had a pretty good guy with him, Mickey Mantle Jr. and Mike Ferraro, but they went the other
They'd
cab.
headed home. Yeah, they'd headed home.
They said they ordered 2 cabs for 4 people.
Well, that's an interesting story. I'm not going to touch that. Very interesting. Well, Mr. Martin is a fascinating gentleman in this baseball world. No question about that. Time called. They are letting the pitcher step off the mound, as you see, and blow on the hands here tonight. It's damp and cold now.
Well, Palmer likes to blow his hand, but he likes to get moisture to his fingers. He's always coming off the mound trying to apply that. He's got that big breaking ball, so he wants to get as much friction between his fingers and the seams.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Also trying to get his shoes clean. The mound is
on
different color than the base paths, the cutouts. And every time he's doing it, he's stomping, and you can see the dirt around the mound where he's trying to clean his cleats.
They're using a clay substance out there that doesn't give way as much as the other areas. That's high, just missed. That mound, you see the different color? It's a lighter color, and it doesn't give way. It's a firmer composition of earth than the base path areas. Just outside.
Well, Palmer's wanted both pitches. Parrish left almost the catching box on the pitch before. Indeed, when a pitcher strides as much as he does in that landing area, they have to use a good clay composition in that area. So otherwise, it would just wear out, and every pitcher would soon be pitching in China.
Payoff pitch coming. 2 on, 2 out, and they've stopped play again at Pittsburgh. Raining again there. Here it is, and he strikes him out. That's the 4th strikeout for David Palmer as the Reds strand 2. It's still scoreless here at the vet in Philadelphia.
Hey, how you doing? Good. In fact,
The Reds and the Phillies scoreless here in the bottom of the 5th at Veterans Stadium, and fans of the new Reds gift shop is open at the Hyatt Regency in Cincinnati. It's stocked with great new gift items, and it's got that gift for your favorite Reds fans. You can also buy tickets to all upcoming games while you are shopping with the convenience of no service charge to you. Come and see the new Reds gift shop located in the lobby of the Hyatt Regency Hotel at 5th and Elm Streets downtown.
And there's number 500, Schmitty. That's where he banked it. Incidentally, Schmidt has 55 career homers against the Reds. And, of course, he has 534 right now. That ties him for 8th on the all-time list with Jimmy Fox with 2 X's. 2 balls and no strikes. Schmidt leading it off here in the 5th. He struck out to start the 2nd. This fellow's done a lot of wonderful work for charity here in the greater Philadelphia area. He's a marvelous gentleman, a marvelous sportsman, and like the gentleman who I sit alongside tonight, a future Hall of Famer.
Well, thank you. He has postponed his trip to Cooperstown by signing that new 2-year contract for big bucks.
Yes, he has.
Big bucks, big bucks.
More than $2 million a year. That is big. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, Phil Bradley, since coming over here, has raised a lot of money for Big Brothers and Sisters.
Yeah.
He's donating $25 a hit and $50 per run scored. He's raised $1,425, and Schmitty's raised a lot more than that.
Schmidt has already raised better than $19,000 this year for the United Way with a deal that he has here regarding his hits. So he's now got a payoff pitch coming from Danny Jackson. Fouled away. Atlanta's leading Montreal in the early going 2-0 down at Fulton County Stadium. No score here, bottom of the 5th. 0-2-0 for the Reds, 0-1-0 for the Phillies. A light hitting affair, a light rain falling. Again, a foul out of play. Right in the same area. They're having some fun over there trying to get the umbrellas out of the way so they can catch the ball.
That's the most dangerous part of it, trying to work around the umbrellas with those little points sticking out on the end.
Yeah.
If you could turn it upside down that quickly.
And a walk. The second base runner for Philadelphia, James led off the third with a single, was erased when Aguayo hit into a double play. Parrish flied to left in the second inning. Parrish had turned down the football scholarship to UCLA. Detroit chose him in the June '74 draft. Popped up, no play, off to the right side. Boy, they were really on this fella last year here at the bat in the early going, as we talked about his rough start in the National League. I was in here a couple of times, and the fans were really hooting and hollering. But
as only they can do in Philadelphia.
They can do it
He
here.
didn't start spring training until March 15th, so he really got a late start all the way around.
Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. This fella hit .245, his lowest average in 5 seasons here last year. And a double play. Well, Larkin wasn't even sure he had the ball as it slid right into his glove on 1 hop, and he went down. 29 errors for the Reds. High shot into short right. And it is, look out, going to be Treadway as he and Renicky collide out there. 5 innings gone by the boards at the vet. No score. Well, we move into the 6th inning in a scoreless game, and go get them, long ball.
You can count on it right here. I'm going to show you a little offense, starting right here with Barry Larkin. Barry 0 for 2 on fly balls. Fakes a bunt. Got Schmitty moving in, and Frank Pulley calls it a strike. Barry's average down to .301 now. But you couldn't ask more of a leadoff hitter than Barry has given. And there's that slow curveball, and well, if you watched on our angle, you thought it was pretty good.
Might have been inside.
Sure.
Pulley's got a better look than you and I.
That's right. It was so slow, I think he didn't think it was going to get there. 1 ball, 1 strike, sinker down, and it's 2 balls and a strike. The Reds here for 3 games on a day off Thursday as they travel to Pittsburgh for the weekend before coming back to Cincinnati, and be a nice homestand. Get your tickets, come out and see the Reds, because they're just about ready to get out of this rut. Ball taken inside. It's 3-1.
He'll be coming home to play 3 against Atlanta on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. The 19th's a day off, and a very attractive weekend series, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Chicago Cubs will be in town.
Atlanta leads Montreal 2-0 in the 3rd here, and the walk given up to Barry Larkin. It's the 2nd of the night for David Palmer, and Barry Larkin, of course, been very successful in stealing bases, 11 for 14 so far this year. He went to Los Angeles over the winter to talk to Eric Davis about base stealing. They really didn't talk too much about technique. They really kind of just changed Barry's stance at first base. They want him just a little bit more erect and not leaning over quite as much. And Barry said he'll do as he can. He's never really been a base stealer in his career. But in this situation, Pete and now Tommy really giving him the green light. Dave Palmer just makes sure that he doesn't get too much of a lead. Timeout is called. One thing about the wet surface here, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of spikes or cleats that Barry has on tonight. Hopefully it would be the rubber cleats.
You
David
see
Palmer
working there, yeah.
He's got the metal cleats. As a pitcher, I think you need a little bit more stability on the mound, but can clog up right around where he's got the lead, and he tries to kick that dirt out to keep away from the wet stuff. He slips a little bit, and Palmer just goes easily over to first, and a little problem with traction. One thing about it, if you throw over there 3 or 4 times, then you're going to make sure he's got his cleats full. This will be a quicker move.
The rain has
Subsided,
let up.
looks like.
It's let up a great deal. It's still raining, but very lightly now.
Sabo 0 for 2. Larkin fakes, taken inside on the corner, and Palmer gets ahead. Chris looks down to Bruce Kim, who hasn't got the sign yet from inside the dugout. Quick couple of flips. And now has what he wants from Tommy. Sabo steps back in. Sabo's with a couple of opportunities to try to go the other way, and they've used him in the hit and run a few times. He's just kind of learning the ability to go the other way. There goes Larkin. Ground ball, second base, and it's perfect. It'll be into right field. Larkin will go to third base easily, and that is vintage baseball right there.
Started the runner, and that's what made it happen, because Samuel was moving towards second, and he had no chance to reverse himself and get back to that ball, where really a normal setup would have had the opportunity to throw him out. Here it is again, slapping it to the right side. You see where Samuel is. No chance to make the play. Larkin was able to see where the ball was and go on to third.
Well, the decision is made by the shortstop and second base who is to cover second, and on that play it was Samuel. Now they have scouting reports, and they've seen Sabo not successfully going the other way. By the time the dividend paid off. Here's Cal, who could use contact. He struck out twice tonight and looks at the ball down.
There's still rain delayed at Pittsburgh.
Third hit of the night for the Reds, and they've received 2 base on balls. Danny Jackson has given up but just 1 hit. Steps off, and Sabo goes back to first.
Reds leading the National League in stolen bases with 59. They've stolen better than 80% of their attempts.
And Sabo has 12 of those stolen bases. He's got 1 foot right on the edge of the carpet. He's not going anywhere. Ground ball right field. It's a base hit. Sabo will have to hold at second base as James gets the ball very quickly. And Larkin scores, and the Reds take a 1-0 lead. I did prophesy it. I told you I was going to get some runs for you.
You're right again.
Boy, you could just feel sometimes that a ball club is ready to swing the bats, and a guy like David Palmer has been successful, but he has not pitched past this 5th inning.
Well, here it is again. Daniels gets one down the middle, turned over on it, bangs it through the right side. RBI number 17 on the year.
Well, it'd be very good to see Cal turn things around, and runners at first and second base for Eric Davis, who doubled deep to center field and then hit a line shot to Phil Bradley in left field on the first pitch thrown to him by Palmer. Paul O'Neill on deck, and
time called. Something out in left field. I don't know whether there's a gate open or a door open out there. Yeah, that
the door
came
wind
open.
blew it open. So Eric hitting at 196, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases.
He has 7 RBIs in his last 6 starts.
And got a few of those against the Phillies. Little sinker down and in, and Palmer falls behind. Chicago leads Baltimore 3-0 there in the 4th inning.
They're underway. Milwaukee at Minnesota, scoreless in the first.
Sabo leads at second, Daniels at first. Good swing and a foul tip at the plate. Count even at 1. This is a different type of ball club than we've seen in the past from the Phillies, especially if you saw them last year. You see Clay warming up down in the bullpen. They have been hurt somewhat by the fact that Steve Bedrosian had pneumonia during spring training. They thought it was going to a heart attack. They sent him to the hospital. That was March 7th. They thought he'd be out for like 3 weeks. Here it is May, and he's just getting his first chance to pitch. Good slider down and away, and he had Eric chasing it.
Bedrosian is pitching down in the minors.
Maine, yes, at Maine. They're going to try to throw him a couple of innings tonight and tomorrow night, and if all goes well, then he may make the road trip with them. They're talking about.
I've missed him, of course. 40 saves in the Cy Young Award, and they also thought that they had the potential really to surprise, and up to now the big surprise has been how poorly they've played, especially defensively, and their offense has not been able to get on track. And Schmidt has had the problems that you mentioned. He really hasn't been able to go for the ball with any real range, and he hasn't really been able to bend over very well. I mean, he's hurting.
They have really talked about his defense being down.
Yeah, but he's hurting bad.
Bill Bradley has not hit a home run. Vaughn Hayes has only 1 home run. This is a ball club that had 9 new people.
And I thought they'd be much improved, Johnny, especially with Lee Elia having his first full year here.
Well, they changed people, as I say. 9 out of the 24 are new on this ball club. Strike 3 on a fastball, and Eric knew it. Got the fastball in on him, and it's the 5th strikeout of the night for David Palmer. That'll bring Paul O'Neill to the plate. Paul 0 for 2.
Well, this fastball was a dandy, and Davis is mesmerized. He couldn't pull the trigger.
Palmer's got that little slow, small slider. It's not slow, I shouldn't say that. It's kind of a quick one, but it's very small. Kind of like a cut fastball.
The guys in the dugout say about a fellow like this, he's sneaky fast, isn't he?
He's sneaky fast, but the thing is that if you go up there and you almost look for a slider, you don't think he can throw the fastball by you. That's one way of approaching him. He's got the good slider there, and he's shown big sliders. He got Eric swinging wildly at a curveball down and away, and that time he was kind of expecting that fastball in, which he has that running fastball. As it was that little quick slider. O'Neill 0 for 2. Runners still at first and second with 1 out. We're in the top of the 6th inning. A bluff by Sabo. And it's important now to watch for Cal Daniels to watch what Sabo's doing. In fact, Lee May goes over by the bag and says something to Cal as Palmer goes out, spits on his hand, trying to get some wetness. That ball doesn't become slippery to him. Ground ball to Hayes. He'll go to second. Aguayo will have no throw. Palmer was over to cover, but Aguayo saw that he had no chance. Daniels down on top of him, and O'Neill on with the fielder's choice, and it'll be Bo.
Well, you see this toss. It's high, and the tag of the bag there, but no chance to double him up.
Playing that deep just because of the quick surface, and he certainly doesn't want a ball to get down in the corner in for extra bases and have both runners score. And Bo, who singled his last time up, struck out in the 2nd inning. He lifted one into short center field on the first pitch thrown. This one grounded towards third base. There's Schmidt. Bob throw over in time. The Reds got a run in the inning. They get 2 hits to go with it. They strand 2. Palmer mad at himself. The Reds lead 1-0. Reds lead at 1-0 here in Philadelphia as Chris James leads off and looks at a pitch down and in. Ball 1 against Danny Jackson. Jackson pitched against the Phillies on the 4th, and he gave up only 2 hits. 1 run, walked a couple, struck out 5. Tonight, he has struck out but 1 hitter. Big breaking ball down and in, and the 1 hit tonight for the Phillies is by Chris James. There's a good fastball on the inside part of the plate, and the count 2-1.
Pulley's been consistent with that tonight, giving that inside corner. Don't forget, you can pick up USA Today All-Star fan ballots wherever you buy Budweiser and Bud Light. Start voting for the All-Star game as we look forward to that in the Queen City this summer.
It'll be a big celebration for everybody, and one that we're proud of, and people are going to find out a little bit more about the Queen City and just what a wonderful city it is.
July 12th, the All-Star game.
Fly ball center field. Eric starts back now, 1 or 2 steps in, and 1 out in the inning. Danny with 3 fly ball outs so far in the game. He's been getting the Phillies to hit the ball on the ground.
See Jackson working on the spikes a little bit. The rain has stopped.
And they went out in the 5th inning and raked around all the base paths and the cutouts. Luis Aguayo stands in. Reds have turned 2 double plays. One of them started by this man right here, who grounded to Sabo in the 3rd inning. Palmer on deck. Reds with 4 hits in the game to get their 1 run the last inning. They got the base on ball and 2 hits. Jackson just misses outside, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. Aguayo was one of those guys last year, Jay, that everybody was talking about, especially him, about the ball being juiced up because he got off to such a great start in the month of April.
He had 12 home runs, which is an all-time career high for him. And he was on the DL for a while, but eventually had to have some knee surgery last October. He did only hit .206, as I mentioned, in 94 games, but he did have a long ball going.
Well, now he's got a base on balls going, and that's the 2nd base on balls given up by Danny Jackson. Indeed, 94 ball games to hit 12 home runs, and they really have had the problem at shortstop. They have not been able to get anybody, and Aguayo every year he just keeps coming back, and all of a sudden you look up and he's playing shortstop again.
Used to be that way in St. Louis. Every year Dal Maxville would go to training camp at St. Petersburg, and they'd say, well, you know, he won't be there this year. And every
Not
year
that
he
little
was
runny guy who's got no power and anything else. Palmer with a chance to sacrifice or slug bunt, drops a good one down. It's going to be foul. Frank Pooley quickly out. He looks like he's trying to get this game over with. Of course, he always works quick. Frank is one of the solid umpires. He gets a little upset every now and then.
Pulley is a very workmanlike man behind the plate. You always know when it's a strike. He pumps it in there, and
yeah, he loves it. He's got that little karate chop to your nose.
Tony Taylor coaching at first base. What a pinch hitter he was for the Phillies over the years.
What a fine man. Player. I played with him down in instructional league down in Puerto Rico.
Is that right? He's a good fella.
Palmer squares around, pops it out in front of the plate. Jackson quickly. He will not even look towards second base. Gets the out at first as Treadway covers, and the sacrifice complete. And Aguayo at second base. I had the great pleasure of playing with Tony Taylor and Tony Gonzalez and a guy by the name of Roberto Clemente. What a ball club we had, and we finished like 4th down there. Still can't imagine how.
Always got a kick out of interviewing Tony. You'd ask him a question, and he would repeat the question, agree with you, and repeat the question. There he is. I told him one night, I said, you're a very popular member of the Phillies. He said, you know, Jay, I really am popular.
He always would go up to the plate. He would mark himself. He would hold the bat up, and he would cross himself, and that bat would just shake. I don't know, but it was a habit that, you know, he made the sign of the cross as a Catholic man. He's telling Dernier to make sure he gets the ball up in the strike zone. And he's telling Louis Aguayo to get a big lead. He's very active. That's his job. Ground ball. Larkin should be the inning, and it is. 1 man left on the base on balls. We go to the top of the 7th inning. The Reds lead it 1-0. Game top of the 7th. The Reds and the Phillies hooking up here tonight. Veteran Stadium, and Ron Renicky, the former Philadelphia Phillies player who got a chance in spring training, come along down to Plant City, had a good spring. Sent out to Nashville though, the numbers game, and now with the problems existing, Leo Garcia sent out, and Renicky with a chance to come up, and went from Buffalo to Nashville, drove up, got in here at 6:15, and said, you're in the lineup, and this is his 5th straight game.
Mets leading Houston 1-0 in the first, and Atlanta putting it on Montreal 7-0. San Diego at St. Louis, they're in the 2nd inning. They're scoreless. Chicago still leads Baltimore 3-0 in the 6th.
Renicky behind 1 and 2 as he tries to drop one down. It's fouled at the plate.
Boston's just getting underway, John, at Kansas City, no score, and Milwaukee at Minnesota, they're in the 3rd, no score.
curveball on the outside corner got him looking, and the 6th strikeout of the evening for David Palmer.
David Palmer, and you saw him start this one way out and bring it back in just to cut the corner.
Oh, he's making good pitches because he has half of his strikeouts have been looking. He got Daniels, he got Davis, and he got Renicky now on called 3rd strikes. Here's Treadway. Slider hit down the first base line. It'll be past Lee May, and Palmer ahead and throwing strikes.
Again, tomorrow night, the pitching pairing here will have Don Carmen going against Tom Browning, and then Wednesday night, close out this series, Shane Rawley gets the call against Dennis Rasmussen.
Rawley finally winning a ball game after 10 consecutive losses. 1-5 on the year. Fastball over on the outside edge, and Palmer has to go off for just a second. Blow on his hand. This is a cool evening upstairs for sure, and the wind blowing. Dampness makes it just that much cooler as the temperatures have dropped down into the 50s, and Palmer strikes out the first 2 hitters here in the 7th inning, and that's 7 strikeouts for David Palmer. Danny Jackson grounded out and struck out. Danny last time out against the Phillies in 9 innings gave up the 2 hits, and tonight he's given up only 1 so far. Danny has faced only 1 over the limit so far. Foul back. Palmer throwing nothing but strikes. How about the Oakland Athletics? They've won 13 in a row.
They're really
Dave Stewart, an 8-0 record. And the Cleveland Indians started out so well, just running to a buzzsaw and playing Cleveland, and Palmer gets the curveball over. The Baltimore Orioles have won 4 out of their last 8. If that's of interest.
I'm sure it is to the Baltimore fans.
Strike out the side. That's what you're going to do, Mr. Palmer. He'll take it to the bottom of the 7th. He trails 1-0. Bottom of the 7th inning here at Veterans Stadium, and an interested onlooker with Woody Woodward, the former Cincinnati Red player and worked in the front office, now a vice president here in Philadelphia. Kind of exchanging some views here.
Jim Ferguson sitting alongside there.
No, that's not Jim Ferguson.
No, it's not.
No, that's Mario. That's his
Mario.
devoted confidant.
Yeah, that's his friend.
In the right arm.
I remember. Looked like Jim Ferguson for a minute.
It did, but I would have gladly have given Jim some coverage had it been. Mario has been around everywhere. You should have seen Mario in a lot of places.
I have seen Mario, believe me.
1 ball, 1 strike. The Phil Bradley make it strike 2. Pete, very interested. This Reds ball club has already played 12 one-run ball games, and they lead tonight 1-0. They're only 5-7 in those one-run encounters and extra innings. They've played 8 of those. They're all nail biters, and they haven't been able to get over the hump to make things happen for them. Looked like the other night when they came back against Gooden, that was going to be the night, but Franco giving up the 2-run homer to Darryl Strawberry. Strikeout number 2 on the night as Phil Bradley goes down here in the 7th. 2 base on balls and 2 strikeouts for Danny tonight, while David Palmer, after striking out the side in the 7th inning, has 8 strikeouts to go along with 2 base on balls. 1 Samuel. Samuel, tell you what, he's about all you can ask for in a second baseman. 80 extra base hits last year for Samuel. 28 home runs, 100 RBIs. Only the 3rd second baseman in history to get 80 extra base hits.
And he's improved his play in the field. He really
certainly has. Yeah, that was the big knock on him, was his defense and his ability to turn the double play. He doesn't get the bat started much, but he's got such quick hands and wrists that he can really provide a lot of power. Got the ability to go the other way, and with power, this one goes over the top of the dugout. Back into the crowd. Fanatic almost got that one. Samuel hitting a .231 with 1 home run and 11 RBIs, 8 stolen bases. Double figures and doubles, triples, home runs, and has a tendency to strike out a lot. He's cut down on that, but tonight he becomes the 3rd strikeout victim for Danny Jackson, and there's 5 strikeouts in the inning for the 2 pitchers.
Yep, and Jackson may have a chance, or will have a chance, to strike out the side, but he's got to face Schmitty as he got Samuel. Palmer striking out the side in the Reds half of the 7th, and now Jackson getting the first 2 here in the Phillies half.
Ground ball. Off for Treadway. 1-2-3 inning for both pitchers. We're going to the 8th inning. Reds lead it 1-0.
This is a News 5 update.
Good evening, I'm Jerry Springer. Coming up on News 5 tonight, a severe storm moving through Oxford left this damage in its wake. We'll tell you why the people here think it was a twister. Meanwhile, federal agents find what they think are explosives in the home of local anti-abortion activists. You'll learn what led to the search. And this White House expose hits local book stands. You'll learn why it has the president so upset. Join us at 11:04 the news. We'll see you then.
1-0 ball game in Veterans Stadium. And Cody, turn it this way to your left. Yeah, the game's over here. Thank you very much.
That Wild Bill, Cody?
Yeah, he's getting married coming up this weekend, a couple of days, so he's just kind of lost at this point. He's not sure which direction to go. He better be just one place in a couple of days, and that's walking between those aisles, between those pews. Barry Larkin leads off here in the top of the 8th inning, and Barry 0 for 2 tonight. Tries to check his swing, does. It's foul over towards Bruce Kim. Bruce will just throw it out. Probably got a little bit wet on this turf. We've had some rain tonight. It's stopped, well, completely, looks like. Looks like the radar report was absolutely on. Rain picked up a little bit, but it never was that heavy. Doug Harvey kept watching the cutouts to see if it was too much. David Palmer throwing a fine 4-hitter, gets a chopper towards Schmitty. Schmitty will hurry and just gets him as Hayes looked like he had problem making sure that ball was in the web. 1 out. Palmer striking out 8, giving up 4 hits, the lone run coming in the 6th inning. One of the base on balls, one of the 2 base on balls that he's had tonight to Barry.
Sabo has now hit safely in 8 of his last 9 games.
Sabo, that perfect hit and run single to right field after Barry had walked, and then Cal got the RBI. He pops it straight up behind home plate towards the dugout, and it will blow out of play. Ferris gave a little bit of look. The wind blowing in from right field at the top of the stadium, but that means that it's sort of swirling back, so you have to go over and make sure. And it's been a stiff breeze the entire day here in Philadelphia. The Reds have not really seen any of that real hot weather that they've been hoping to see. In the 80s, it was predicted, and I guess that's what the 80s are back home. And I understand it's rained a little bit in Cincinnati, and it must have because it went through Chicago and then went on down to Pittsburgh. Off-speed breaking pitch, and Sabo way out front.
Yeah, there's still rain delayed at Pittsburgh.
Well, then we'll get a little bit more tomorrow. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Rushed the slider and got it down and away. He'll step off. Get a little more moisture for his hand. Grip across the seams the way he wants it. And there, he'll set it back in there. Now, will it be he is a 2-seam fastball. He turns it a little bit. I think it'd be a breaking ball. It is, and it's hit right back up the middle.
Boy, good job by Sabo. He really waited on this pitch. I think if we can take another look at it, you're going to see that this fella's seeing the ball well, and he did an excellent job of waiting on this pitch, John. He really did. He's got those quick hands.
Well, it's that short swing, Jay. We've seen it.
Yeah.
And there he is, shortening his swing with 2 strikes. And Palmer, fortunately for Sabo, hung that curveball in a good position. He just went right back through the middle. Look how the hands move back. It stays the body. Good hip rotation. He stays right back over himself. He's not way out front. He keeps all of his power there. And, of course, Sabo, definitely a stolen base threat. I wouldn't be surprised to see Palmer checking him or Perry's pitching out. And He gets back in on a dive. 5th hit of the night for the Reds. Ron Hayes has to throw the ball back to Palmer to get the ball back in play, and so Palmer will have to get back on the mound for the ball to be live again.
He threw over there twice, and once it wasn't live. That's what the umpire was talking about. Bob Davidson.
He didn't know that Sabo had called time as soon as he had dived back. So with 1 out here in the 8th inning, the inning continues for Cal Daniels, who struck out his first 2 times up, then got an RBI single into right field, and Palmer once again steps off. Traction not the best with this wet surface over at first base. Sabo will have to be sure he can get a good jump. He'll dive back one more time.
There's a lot of dirt, John, outside that sliding pad toward second base. You see it all out there? Look there. Right there. Sabo's blocking a lot of dirt out there.
Very short steps to make sure he's under control. He doesn't have to slip. Palmer ready to pitch and does. Fastball just on the outside edge for a strike. Well, you're right about Frank Pulley, how quick he is at calling balls and strikes, and that's perfect for a catcher.
And it's perfect for a broadcaster,
yes,
too.
It is.
Like
you never
that.
have to worry about throwing a ball down to second base with 2 outs and 2 strikes on someone. You've got to get the call right away. You know whether to continue. They pitch out, nothing doing, and the count even at 1. There's Elia. Chance to manage again.
Let's see, he's 50 years old now. Philadelphia native.
He's flashing signs to Parrish, and he's telling Lance that he isn't sure they're a sign. He said, I'm not sure that he's not on his own, which the Reds players are. And the fact that Sabo and Larkin, Davis, and Daniels all have the ability to run on their own. John Vukovich stands there and now moves to the left part of your screen. He was a longtime Chicago Cub coach, played in Cincinnati, played at Philadelphia. And Sabo may have a sign not to be running too to go along with it, and Daniels swings at the high fastball and doesn't make contact. There is such a thing as Tommy Helms telling Chris Sabo or Bruce Kim flashing a sign. Maybe that was a sign right there. Both hands pulling up the belt saying, okay, it's free to go now, but before he may have been shut down. Davis on deck. Concentration there, and Palmer takes a little too long, and Cal Daniels will back out. Cal's average at 260 after 100 at-bats on the season. 26 hits. 17th RBI tonight. One ball, 2 strikes. Palmer once again steps off. A little cat and mouse game going on now.
The Phillies have a hurler up and throwing in their bullpen down the right field side.
Wants to go away with the fastball. And he got it over, and it is right there. Daniels wants to argue, but there's nothing to complain about. 3 strikeouts in the game for Cal Daniels, and Frank just... You know, here's a case where an umpire is giving a ball player a time to argue. See, now that's fair, Jay. At least he gave him a chance to argue.
Sure, he gave him the opportunity, and Pulley gave it right back to him, but he didn't incite anything, you know. Looked like the pitch caught the outside corner.
A little frustration on Cal's part, striking out 3 times, but right now he has the only RBI of the game, and Eric Davis, who's got a double, a line drive to left, and a strikeout in his 3 trips tonight.
9 strikeouts now for Palmer.
One big swing of the bat. Falls away, turns it over. Palmer falling to the left side of that mound, trying to get that sinker going down and in. He got Eric the last time up, and Eric knew it. Eric has been right on him when he's thrown that breaking ball up and over the plate. Steps off. Parrish not giving a sign. Little flap sign. Back down. Sometimes it's up to the catcher to tell the pitcher he wants him to throw over to first. There goes Sabo. Chopper towards short. Aguayo's going to have to really hurry. He won't get him. Well, that was some speed going down for first base there.
Boy, he moved, didn't he?
The high chopper, and you could almost just feel the thundering hooves of Eric Davis. He could smell that base hit.
Aguayo had a long way to come. And Eric, I think, turned up the afterburner a little bit on this play.
Well, it'll be interesting to see that if Aguayo was going to cover as well. Because then he had to redirect himself.
I don't think so. He was coming straight for the ball, but just a special extra effort for Davis as he got down the line.
Can you imagine Bo Jackson can probably run faster than that?
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe. Here's O'Neill. Chance to put the Reds up a little more. They get Sabo going back towards second. Aguayo was bluffing him back, got him moving back, and the ball down on O'Neill 0 for 3. There's at first and second, 2 out here in the 8th inning. The Reds lead at 1-0.
Be nice to pick up another run or two, wouldn't it?
Breaking ball. Both runners on the move there. And the ball foul. Sabo and Davis trying to get the infielders moving, and they did have Aguayo, and they had Schmidt going out of position.
Houston takes a 2-1 lead now in the 3rd inning over the Mets. 3rd inning at St. Louis. San Diego and the Cardinals are scoreless. Chicago 3, Baltimore nothing. They're in the 7th at Baltimore. Minnesota leading Milwaukee 3-0 4th inning. Boston at Kansas City 3rd inning, no score.
Needs a little bit more moisture on this cool evening. Now ready.
He really slows it down with men on, doesn't he?
1-0 ball game. He knows that every pitch is counting right now the way Danny Jackson is pitching. Ground ball right field, base hit. Here comes Sabo around third. James with a strong arm. The throw to Parrish. He's safe. O'Neill goes down to second. He'll slide in safe. And Aguayo looked like he was worried about Eric Davis because he took the throw in front of the bag.
Just exactly. You wonder why Aguayo was in that position. It must have been because he feared that Davis might go on. I'll show it to you again. It's a hard shot to the right side. Stayed back, turned those wrists over. It gets through. And Sabo is on the move. Close play at the plate, and Chris just got the hands on the plate. Now look where Aguayo is. And Davis wasn't going.
That's what speed will do. And with first base open, now that runners are at second and third, Diaz will be passed, and they'll pitch to Renicky.
RBI number 7 for O'Neill.
This will be the third base on balls given up by David Palmer. The bullpen has been loosening.
I think they have Danny Clay throwing down there at the moment. They've had a couple of fellas up.
Well, this will be the second time that Clay has been up. And the free pass is completed and Clay ready. And, well, they're either talking about either Clay or Dawley being the man on the bubble if Steve Bedrosian comes back. Lee Elia now, knowing that a ball game this late in the game, the way Jackson is pitching, is so important to retire Renicky. Davis at third. O'Neill at second. Bo Diaz at first. Bases are loaded and 2 outs. 2-0 lead for the Reds. How would you like to turn it around against your old club? That's what Renicky's thinking about. And a ball outside. Palmer looks like he wears contacts the way he squints in.
Yeah, he does.
Fly ball. It's in the infield. There's Aguayo, and Palmer will get out of the inning. The Reds pick up a run on 3 hits. They take a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the 8th.
Reds have out hit the Phillies 7-1, lead at 2-0. Don't forget, the Atlanta Braves will make their first trip to Cincinnati May 16th, 17th, and 18th, followed by a big weekend series with the Cubs on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The Pirates will close out the month, an exciting Memorial Day weekend series filled with some special dates. Make your plans now. Reds baseball, the Reds reaching for the top in '88, and right now the Reds are on top of this one as Danny Jackson in Cincinnati are just 6 outs away from victory. Mario Soto and Concepcion trying to block his view from our cameras.
And he succeeded in blocking his own face.
That's right.
That's a good aim, Davey. Last Parrish in the 8th inning. Flied out, hit into a double play. Danny Jackson trying to complete this shutout. Be the 5th on the year for Reds pitchers.
Jackson coming off that wonderful game against this club last week. A 1-hitter going right now.
You wonder how the team will adjust second time around. Danny has seen Lance Parrish, of course, in the American League. 1930 something for the attendance tonight. They just announced.
A little better than 19,000 on hand.
Jackson misses away and a count 3 balls and a strike.
Johnny Jackson has allowed just 2 earned runs in 32 innings now. Obtained, of course, from Kansas City.
And it's ball 4.
This is not a good idea to walk the leadoff man 8th inning up 2-0.
Well, he walked the leadoff hitter in the 5th inning, Mike Schmidt, and then got Parrish to hit into the double play. Phillies have hit into 2 double plays. Third base on balls of the evening for Danny Jackson, and that'll bring Vaughn Hayes to the plate. Chris James on deck behind him. Two runs, 7 hits for the Reds.
Hayes has got some power.
He checks his swing on the slider, but it's over for a strike. Bo telling Danny that Paul O'Neill is going to play behind Lance Parrish. And fouled, no, just out of the glove of Bo. No balls and 2 strikes.
Montreal trying to come back against Atlanta. Atlanta leading 7-4, 7th inning down at Fulton County Stadium.
Minnesota playing a little better baseball now.
They're up 3-0 over Milwaukee, 4th inning.
Played well against the Red Sox in the Dome. Of course, they had some problems last year on the road. Ooh. Bo set outside and Jackson went inside, and that may have cost him the pitch. Chris James. James with the only hit of the evening for the Phillies.
There's still rain delayed at Pittsburgh. San Francisco leading 2-1. They've been held up a long time there.
Jackson shakes off, wants to throw the breaking ball. It's a slider fouled out of the mitt. Outfield fairly deep. Daniels deep in left field. Renicky, well, the speed and the power of Hayes, and you always can judge an outfielder. He's deep, you would say, but not nearly as deep as what Cal would be in left field. Hayes has good power to all fields. Hayes on the year with only 1 home run. Oh, slider got the inside edge. Good pitch by Danny Jackson. 4th strikeout of the night for Danny.
Well, you called it, John, a good slider, and it slides right in there.
Boy, you know, he throws that breaking ball away, and then all of a sudden he starts that little bit bigger one inside and breaks it over that edge. For Philadelphia, it's Kent DeCulvey and Greg Harris warm up. And they're hoping that they can get down to David Palmer. With one out in the inning is James, and then followed by Aguayo. And then it would be Palmer. Parrish leads at first base.
And it looks like the Reds have a curler getting up and warming up down the left side.
Jose Rijo.
Yep, that's Jose.
DeCulvey has had to take over the role of closer for the Philadelphia Phillies. He said, it's not a lot of difference. He did it for so many years to begin with, but he said he's been the setup man for Bedrosian. He said, what's the difference pitching the 7th and the 9th? You got to get 3 guys out. They're lucky to have the veteran. And Tom Frothworth, I should. Frohworth or Frohworth, I guess it is. Frohworth. F-R-O-H-W-I-R-T-H. Who came out of the Phillies farm system. 12 of the 24 players for the Phillies came out of the farm system. They got 9 through trades and 3 through free agency. Fastball misses inside, and the crowd trying to get something going as Jackson falls behind on the count, 2 balls and a strike.
Third inning, the Cardinals now leading San Diego 1-0.
Ooh. Three balls and 1 strike. That 1 run last inning looks bigger now. Jackson trying to be so fine. Jackson has 3 complete games on the season. Chop down the third base line. Jackson has to hurry. Throw got him.
Boy, he made a good
dive.
Boy, made a good play.
Well, he really had a bad start, Jay, off the mound. He really didn't get over there as quickly as he would have liked to.
Well, that mound is sticky and slippery, and he really battled to get off the mound. Look at him, and now he knows he's got to hurry. He stops and wheels and fires, and he nipped him as he tried the head-first slide there at first base.
DeCulvey to second base. And the key there was righting himself and make sure he planted on that back foot to give him the extra time. So Parrish is at second base with 2 outs for Aguayo. Pinch hitter has come out on deck. Young. He's acquired in a trade from Baltimore. And the slider over for Danny Jackson. Mike Young. Switch hitting outfield. Here that was acquired for hopefully a little more offense for this ball club. Milt Thompson has been their center fielder, and he did not hit at all against left-handed pitching, excuse me. I was right the first time, left-handed, because that's why Bernier is here, and Jackson misses downstairs. They have platooned in center field, and they've really gotten good production out of Bernier. James is in right field, and Phil Bradley in left. Downstairs. 2 balls and a strike to Aguayo. Rio is warming the pen, and both relievers for Philly should be ready. There will be a choice between the 2, and Elia will make the choice according to the score. Long drive, right center field. But there's Davis, and the inning over, and the Philadelphia Phillies are scoreless again. The Reds lead it 2-0. We're back in the for the top of the 9th inning here in Philadelphia. A crowd of 19,300 plus. Here seeing the Phillies shut down tonight. The Phillies offense has been a little more quiet even than the Cincinnati Reds. They have been shut out twice this year. And Danny Jackson, who's on deck, would like to make it another time. Treadway, a beautiful bunt down the third base line, and Schmidt has no chance at that one.
No, and, you know, interestingly enough, Palmer upset with himself because he knows Schmidt can't run with that injury.
Well, the one thing about the way Palmer falls off the mound is he has no chance of getting back over there anyway. See how he goes? There his weight goes.
He's on the wrong side. Schmidt, you see, he can't
and I'll tell you,
bend over.
There's very few people in this game can pick up a bunt and throw it like Mike Schmidt.
That's right.
He's about as good as I've ever seen in the game of baseball. Brooks Robinson got a lot of credit, but it's hard to beat what that man can do with a bunt or any slow topper. And here comes Lee Elia. Will he make a double switch? If he does, he'll have to stop and talk to the manager, or he won't worry about it and just figure that his pitcher's going to be the first man up and he can pinch it no matter who he brings in. I don't think he would need to make a trip out there unless he absolutely was going to take him out. I don't think he needs to tell David Palmer anything.
And he's going to make the change.
He's made the decision to go to the bullpen.
Palmer's pitched a pretty good ball game.
Greg Harris is the only man out there now that Tekulve is set down, and yes, indeed, Jay. He's given up 2 runs. He's struck out 9 batters. He's walked 3 tonight, and it'll be an evening for David Palmer. He acknowledges the fans. Greg Harris, the former Red, will be in the pitch, and we'll check on him right after we pause for this message. It's 2-0 Reds. The former New York Met, Greg Harris, on the mound as the Reds lead 2-0 here in the top of the 9th inning. And Jeff Treadway aboard with a bunt single. Harris came over in a trade from the Mets, pitched for a while in Cincinnati. Looked like he was going to be out of baseball. He pitched in Indianapolis, went over to the Texas Rangers, and pitched very successfully. The Phillies acquired him, and so far this year he's pitched in 9 ball games. He's given up 8 hits in 12 2/3 innings, an ERA of 4.26. He is a curveball specialist. He will throw curveball, 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 and then he'll try to dart the fastball. On in relief to face Danny Jackson, whose job it is to sacrifice Treadway over. Reds scored 1 run in the 6th with a base on balls and a couple of base hits. The RBI coming from Cal Daniels. They picked up 1 more run as the results of 3 hits in the inning, and the RBI to Paul O'Neill. Bunted out in front. Parrish rushes out, fires to second base. Got him.
Outstanding play by Parrish. The bunt was just not quite far enough. That dirt down there is very, very sticky after the rain, and the ball just kind of hung in that home plate area. Here's the bunt. Now watch the ball. You see it go out there and it just stops. If it had been another foot or 2 out front, Parrish wouldn't have been able to make the play, but give him credit for really hustling and then doing a great job of getting the throw in there.
Got it barehanded. It stopped for him, and that made it much easier to control. He was able to keep his momentum going. That is textbook right there of how to get your momentum going towards second base. And you're right. If it just got to the AstroTurf, Jay, it would have been a very, very good bunt. Harris with a little slider. Larkin takes. Larkin 0 for 3. He has scored a run tonight. He's been aboard on a base on balls. Average has dropped below 300, but he once again was on base, and that's his job, and his on base percentage really helped the Reds this year. On base percentage for Barry stands at 329. It seems like it's higher than that. All those hits, making good contact, and he doesn't this time, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You remember where we were a week from tonight? A week ago last week?
I think we were sitting here watching Ronnie Robinson.
Not here.
No, I mean.
But we were in Cincinnati.
Oh, man, I'm still getting over that one.
Yep.
Foul ball.
1 pitch he was within of history, being the first Cincinnati Red ever to pitch a perfect game. He might be interested. There he is. Hi, Ronnie.
Hanging breaking ball?
You know, yeah, hanging breaking ball.
You haven't you had any dreams of it, have you?
Just every night.
Have you seen that over? Have you played that over a few times?
Twice.
Curveball down in the dirt.
The last one hitter by a Reds pitcher was Tom Browning versus Chicago at Cincinnati, June 4th of '86. And of course, at the moment, there's one hit on the board for the Phillies.
Well, I would believe that if he gave up 2 more hits, he wouldn't care if he went away with a 3-hit shutout.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
Foul back, and he had it right there, bell tie where he wanted it.
Still rain delayed at Pittsburgh, with San Francisco leading 2-1.
New York and Houston are tied at 2.
Atlanta 7-4 over Montreal there in the 7th.
Danny Darwin and Sid Fernandez. Ooh, they're also scoring some runs out at the Olympic Stadium, aren't they? Jackson with a small lead, and it almost gets away from Parrish.
I think that game's in Atlanta.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is. You're right.
Isn't it? Yeah.
St. Louis 6-0 now over San Diego, and Parrish. What? Quick reaction? Yeah, that's why we like those gloves. I remember that.
This fellow's a good catcher.
Oh, yes, he is. There goes Jackson, fouled off. 3 balls and 2 strikes, relying on Larkin to make contact, and Jackson, the good athlete. Sometimes you'd think, well, a pitcher in the 9th inning, you don't want to tire him out by running the bases. Danny'd like to have another run, too. And he stays in such great shape. I think he's that worried about it. Larkin not really a strikeout man. He struck out only 7 times this year in his 131 at bats. Imagine that, 131 ABs already, making 135 now, counting this one, and he's walked. That'll bring Sabo up. Sabo started the night 0 for 2 and now is 2 for 4 with a single to right and a single to center. And
Claude Osteen coming out. This man was a fine pitcher in his day, and he's been the pitching coach here for a number of years now.
Pitched for the Dodgers, and I'll never forget him throwing me that little sinker and cut slider and getting me out, and he wouldn't throw it hard enough to hurt you. And I screamed from the dugout after making another ground ball out, "You'll never get me out again." Lee May said, "What you gonna do, quit?" In fact, I started it bound behind the cage today. I said, because Claude was throwing batting practice, and Doggy and I were laughing, and he said, "Hey, Mo," he said, he pointed out there, and I said, "You'll never get me out." And Mo just came up with a line that it was, as well as probably 17 years old. "What you gonna do, quit?"
Just came right back like a song.
Sure did. We laughed about that forever. I'll never forget Bunning getting me out. I said, "How can he get me out?" And he said, "What's wrong with you, man? He's throwing perfect games and 300 strikeouts in a season." Fastball on the inside part of the plate, off the fist of Sabo and back on the crowd.
Bunning should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I have to think he should be.
Boy, I'll tell you, he should.
Came ever so close last year, which is the worst part of it, of coming that close.
I can't believe that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Harris deal, throw down to first base, Larkin back. Quick release by Parrish. Last year had all kinds of troubles in the early part of the season of throwing runners out. Came back a little bit. But over in the American League, he was deadly. And, of course, that was a Roger Craig staff. And that developed all those slow and quick moves, you would say, to home plate. There's a base hit, or is it? Nope, there's James. It's a double play. James has got to look up. He's got Jackson, and he didn't see him.
He was looking at first, and he had Jackson at second. Oh, James should be ashamed of himself for not having a better feel for what was happening, because Jackson thought that ball was going to drop in, and it just hung. It was hit harder than you thought, and it got out there. We'll show it to you. Here's the end of it. It got out there. James coming on, and Jackson at this point is 15 feet off the bag at second.
He's 15 feet from third base. He was almost to the cutout at third base when he turned around and he said, "Oh no." He must have been listening to me in the earpiece. I know he doesn't have one on, but he hit that ball on the line. Looked like a sure out. That ball really hung up. He hit it so hard. And the Reds with an opportunity. And here's Cal Daniels, who had a little brief run-in with Frank Pulley. He's 1 for 4 on the night. RBI single and 3 strikeouts. Drove in the first run of the game in the 6th. Parrish waiting for something to happen. I don't know. He's trying to kill some time here. I don't know what for, but popped in the air in the infield. Aguayo calling and making the catch. The Reds go down. They had a scoring opportunity. We go to the bottom of the 9th. 2-0. It's the Reds.
Sunday, May 29th, the Reds will close out their Memorial Day weekend series with the Pirates. It's a 2:15 game. And for the youngsters in Reds country, the first 15,000 in attendance, 16 and under, receive the free Reds batting glove from Drumstick Sunday Cones. Oh, I love those things. Man, this great glove features the Reds logo, and they'll be a perfect addition to your youngsters' baseball equipment. Don't forget, Sunday, the 29th of May, Reds and the Pirates. Batting glove day. There it is. And thanks to Drumstick Sunday Cones. There's a Reds fan.
Yeah. Taking some favorite pictures of his favorite players. Danny Jackson has been the story tonight. He's got a one-hit shutout going here into the bottom of the 9th, and it'll be Mike Young, who has hit only 111 so far this year. A couple of RBIs. And for Mike Young, hitting 167 from the right side, 067 from the left. He's 0 for 11 as a pinch hitter.
Young from Baltimore, along with a player to be named later, turned out to be Rick Shue. Jeff Stone and Keith Hughes involved in that deal. This fellow strikes out a lot, but he can make contact.
So Jackson and Young have seen each other in the American League, and Jackson starts him off with a good fastball on the inside part of the plate for a strike.
Had some ligament damage to his thumb last year, John, and it was a hindrance for him.
Another one right on the inside corner, but this one just missed, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. They're near on deck. He'll be followed by Phil Bradley. Infield playing deep on the left side. Hard hit, high up by the diving Sabo. It was hard to believe that he could have gotten one inside the line and Sabo, but he does. And Sabo dove for it. Looked like he might have come up with on that wrist or landed on the wrist. He's shaking it just a little bit.
Well, it was a very tough chance. It's just inside the line. We'll show it to you again. Maybe Sabo should have been a little closer to the line, guarding that line here in the 9th. Just off the gloves.
Well, I tell you, just as good as he could. That's the only place he could have hit it to get it by Sabo, and he certainly did land on his hand. He's taken that glove off and shaken that hand a couple of times. And Jackson now, with Young at second base, faces Dernier. And if it had been a 1-0 ball game, Sabo would have been on top of that line. What a good effort. Fastball just misses, and John Franco warms in the bullpen for the Reds. Heart of the order. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd like to get down to Mike Schmidt. Jackson trying to stop them at Samuel. Ground ball this time backhanded by Sabo. Throw over, and Sabo, thank you very much. You talk about left-handers giving third basemen a lot of problems. I'm glad you're down there, Chris.
And a key tonight, Johnny, as we'll look at Sabo make this fine play. Again, had a little trouble getting up as he stumbled, but made the play in time. The key tonight for Jackson has been that he has kept Dernier, Bradley, Samuel, and Schmidt off the base paths.
Well, they've got good speed up front. The three men you mentioned, all with great speed, and he's got them on ground balls, and only one time Phil Bradley fouled out to first base. Bradley with a ground out, pop-up foul, and a strikeout. And that was the third time that Chris Sabo has retired Bob Dernier. Whoa, he tried to tie it up right there. Bradley looking for his first home run of the year. First home run in the National League. He had a good park to hit in over at American League, Seattle. My goodness. Wow. Jay, you might have hit 10 there.
I might have. If I played long enough, huh?
Good fastball. Fouled over the dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jackson throwing about as hard as in the 9th inning here as he was in the 1st inning, and he did that in San Francisco. We don't have the gun downstairs to rely on.
Tommy Helms looking on.
In that particular game, he started with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball and only dropped down to 92 in the 9th inning, so he stayed right there. Tries to get the fastball by Bradley and misses outside 2-2. On Samuel. Will more than likely get the hit unless we can get Young on a line drive. Looking down on the slider, he got it upstairs. That's a fastball. Full count. Well, you know, right here, Jay, the one thing you have to do is challenge this hitter.
Sure do. You don't want to put them in a position where they would have the winning run at the plate, do you?
No, even if he hits the ball out of the ballpark, the winning run would be at home plate, but you have to go right after him. Got him with a slider.
Oh, that was a dandy pitch from Danny Jackson for strikeout number 5.
And Bo, one more time out to the mound.
Here it is.
Oh, he got that breaking ball and just started on the outside edge. You want to think it's a fastball. All of a sudden you realize it's a breaking ball. You go after it, and it's too late. Jackson, 3 base on balls tonight, 5 strikeouts, and only 2 hits allowed. Same number of hits he allowed last time out against the Phillies on May the 4th. Ooh, good pitch downstairs. Good placement. Ball 1. And Mike Schmidt moves out on deck. So I'm well 0 for 3 on a couple of ground balls and a strikeout. Missed inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Samuel in double figures and home runs, doubles, and triples struck out 162 times last year. Topped out in front of the plate. Jackson will have to hurry against Samuel. He got him. 2-hit shutout for Danny Jackson. The Reds lead and win, I should say, 2-0. So the Reds behind Jackson and a couple of RBIs, one by Daniels and one by Paul O'Neill. Win here tonight, and that manager right there, the interim manager, Tommy Helms, out to shake hands. Final score, Reds 2, Phillies nothing.
Well, after losing 3 at Shea Stadium, the Reds roll into Philadelphia and get a marvelous job from Danny Jackson tonight. That is 34 innings now that he has allowed just 2 earned runs, and certainly you have to be pleased the way this young man has pitched.
Well, we've talked about the pitching staff, how good they've pitched all year long, and another result of Danny Jackson. It was his 4th complete game, Jay, and the Reds have got some shutouts behind him, and for Danny Jackson in 18 innings, that's only 4 hits. Well, we'll be back here tomorrow night, Jay, to bring you all the action for the Cincinnati Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies. The final score from Philadelphia, Reds 2, Phillies nothing. For Jay Randolph, this is Johnny Bench saying so long, everybody. Tonight's game has been brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Toyota and your local Toyota dealer. There's quality, then there's Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more? And by Long John Silver's, where we want to see you happy. And by Community Mutual, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, because just any blue won't do. So long, everybody.
Cincinnati Reds baseball has been brought to you locally by your best quality Ford dealers. We're winning Cincinnati over. And by Kroger, the home of cost-cutter prices. And by Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, the best burgers in the business.